I'm going to get caught up on the Commanders news. And I look up and I see some practice tape. I see a picture of some practice tape going across the social platforms. And all the captions are reading how Brandon Aiyuk has posted a picture of Commanders practice tape. And man, I tell you, that bothers me. It bothers me for a couple of reasons. Because number one, if you listen to the previous episode, when I was breaking down some Joe Witt Jr. press conference, he says one of the biggest things that we have to our advantage right now as Washington Commanders is that teams don't know what you're going to do. Now, sure, it was just a still shot. It was a little split backfield, but you can look and see who's in the backfield, and you can start to try to think what could potentially be coming from that. But number two, he's not even on the team yet. And I know that's your boy, but I'm not liking the fact that Washington's practice tape is in another team's building. That's not a good look. That's not a good look for me. And I know that you can get yourself in a lot of trouble whenever you letting playbooks get into the wrong hands and other folks start seeing things. Then hey, not saying anything's gonna come from that, but it's just not a good look. But I welcome in y'all to Believe in Commanders. I'm Anthony Armstrong, the original 1-3. Yes, yes, there is real live footage of Washington Commanders, at least a tight shot of the practice that was going across Brandon Aiyuk's TikTok page. It's across all X and it's all across Instagram, and people are breaking it down. And I saw that. I said, I got to get in on this because it's just it doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with me. Welcome in. Believe in Commanders is brought to you by the Believe Network. It's on the Believe Network. You can catch our articles on SI.com. I'm Anthony Armstrong, like I said previously, former receiver with the Redskins, and been doing this thing over here with Believe in Commanders for a couple of years. And I've really been enjoying watching this team grow, being able to cover them and communicate with you and break things down and share my insight and the things that I've been through, being in that building and the excitement from the fans. It's been fun to be along on this ride with you. But what's going on right now with the practice clip and the picture going on, especially amid the trade rumors or the potential wanting out of San Francisco, is like, is this a play to where you're trying to force your way out? I just doesn't sit right with me. I saw a great tweet. I want to make sure I give it to the right person. I want to say, I want to say it might have been George Carmi, uh, or somebody else. So if it isn't George, I apologize. I apologize. But he said, man, I feel he's like when you see these antics, it kind of makes you feel you appreciate Terry. And I agree. I don't have anything against IU, but I'm just like, man, I'm not I'm not digging the fact that even though that's your boy, you know, you're showing because you mean hey, if he's visiting, sure, you probably saw you watching some tape here or there, um, but man, I even posted on my social media. And then now I know that's a conversation that DQ and AP they gotta have with Jake. Like you gotta, hey man, look, I know that's your boy, but like, hey, let's not have him. Let's not allow that to happen. I mean, it looks like it is a still shot. Okay, so it's not showing. I'm looking at it here. You can see it's a little split back formation. There's that B Rob, Chris Rodriguez in the backfield. And then you can see the 5-0 lineman and the tight end. You can see a little bit of a defensive formation. 8 guys in the box. One safety down there getting a little nosy. I mean, that's what you can see from that. And now you have to just speculate as to what it can be. But it's just something about it that doesn't sit right with me. I'm not. It's just I don't like. I never wanted the information to get out. Like I'll give you I'll give you a funny story from college. Right. And before I say that, this episode is, and all our previous episodes have been brought to you by the good folks over there at Bet Online. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for your sports betting needs this season. All right. So now you're getting past the NBA. We're getting past the NHL. So you got golf and you got soccer. You got some top fights with UFC, MMA, Euro Cup is going on over there. So you have that out there for you. You got every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. So you're watching the game, you feel something, you feel some momentum shift. Feel free to get out there and make a bet. And then when that game's over, head on over to the online casino. Get in on a game of blackjack, play some poker, Texas Hold'em. Is that your vibe? What that's at Beyonce, so this ain't Texas. Woo. Or you can unwind with one of our over 150 slots games, okay? Now head on to the website today, get in on the action using the promo code BELIEVE for 50% on your first bet up to $250. So you get a little extra cash over there at BetOnline. So BetOnline, the game starts here. The game starts here. But back to the clip or just the picture. And I had to go over to TikTok and look and see it myself. And I just, it doesn't sit right with me. You know, it doesn't sit right with me. Funny story from my days in college. Back in college at West Texas A&M, we had an offensive coordinator, Coach Lee Hayes, great person, hell of a coach, impactful man in my life. We were playing against his old school, Texas A&M Kingsville, Darrell Green's school. All right. Now, back in his day, back in OG's days, it was Texas A&I Kingsville, something along those lines. So either way, we were playing that school. He used to be at that school, so he wanted to get back at him. Well, Coach found he came up with the great idea of dropping the play call script. I think he heard this story from somewhere else, but he told us what he was going to do. He's like, okay, we're going to warm up. We're going to warm up pre-practice. We're going to run one last play on this sideline. We're going to run a hitch. You know, real simple play. Run it, execute it on their sideline so they get to see this last play. As we went into the field, Coach dropped a play script. And if you know about play scripts, teams are going to track out their first 15 plays or so. And they tend to go down that script to see what the defense is giving them so they can make these different adjustments, things of that nature. So mind you, we just ran this hitch, threw it to me right in front. So he drops this, he drops this paper. And on the first play, it said, I think it called a hitch it called the hitch. But when we got in the game, he called the double move off of that. He actually called the trick play off of that in order to get ahead of them because he knew they were going to pick up that script. And he knew that they were going to go in and say, hey, coach, he dropped the script. The first play is a hitch or hitch and go. Ends up being something else. You end up making a big play. You set the momentum, kind of punch him in the mouth. That's the thing that comes to me whenever I see this. And like you said, these guys are friends. But I don't need to show you all my offense. You know, I don't need you to be all in the playbook. Now, I will say this though. You can win, especially when you get into the season, like you can go back and look at everybody's tape. I mean, that's how you study film, right? Your teams are able to go back to various years and see where coaches were and where players were and to try to get as much tape on somebody as you can. You have that opportunity to do it. But the kicker is nobody knows what this offense is going to look like. You've added Eckler, you've added Sennett, you've added Ertz, you've added not BA, but you're thinking about, people want to add BA. You've added the people on the defensive side, Bobby Wagner, Luvu. Now you're looking to see just a glimpse of where these people could line up. Joe Witt Jr. said it himself. He looks at people's tape. He looks at people's interviews and sees what can he surmise from that? What can he take from that? Is he able to see, oh, like they think this guy needs to work on this. Let's attack him here. See if he fixes it. I mean, now if you're looking at this play, you're thinking of the potential stunt, you're thinking of the potential action. Okay, now how are we going to treat Washington when they show up in this 2-back set? You know what I'm saying? How are you now? Is that personnel going to be there? I don't know, but you sure going to consider it. Let me zoom in over here. Let me zoom in. I'm trying to see this a little bit larger. I'm going to have to go check numbers. But ultimately, I don't think it does you any good. And I know if it's a thing that you're trying to force your way out of San Francisco, maybe. I mean, some conduct that just makes, you wear out your welcome. I've just always been the type of guy, and then I don't got to be the same person as BA. But I'm just not the type where I'm trying to, cause that much of a ruckus. But the thing that really bothers me about all of this, how in the hell your phone get to 4%? How your phone get to 4%? Whoever, I don't know if this is a screenshot. Let me go back and look. Every time I see screenshots posted, phones be down there. Like I'm talking, you sneeze and your phone is gonna die. But how'd you let your phone get to 4%? Should always have a charger nearby. You got a couple dollars, get yourself one of them little battery packs, man. Throw it in your pocket, throw it in your bag. You'll always stay charged up. So I don't know. That's something that bugs me. It just doesn't sit right. It's not the type of attention that I would like to see in Washington. We haven't seen that type of attention in Washington in a while. Everything has been, generally on the up and up outside of on-field performance. Right. I'm not really looking for off the field antics right now. Right. You have something building over there in Washington. So I would love to see that thing cleaned up. Let me know at Believe Commander. Join in on that conversation. I want to hear from you. At Believe Commanders on X. What do you think about the practice clip screenshot being posted? I'm going to see just I can't tell whose that was. Maybe that was the screenshot. Okay, that was the screenshot. So whoever screenshotted this, your phone's at 4%. Charge your phone. Josh, is that you? It might be. Next thing I want to chit chat on. And now we're in that dead period where there's not much going on other than off the field drama, but there's no football going on. And what are you thinking as you're preparing for this time as a player? Right? You obviously see people are watching tape, still trying to watch film, get a few more mental reps in. You saw that Marcus Mariota had and crew had some people out there in Oregon getting some work in, running around, running routes, and building that connection. This time of year, leading into training camp, this is number one. I remember Coach Danny Smith when he was up there in Washington. He always said, "You only get one holiday when you're in professional football. You get July 4th. That's it." Because training camp's going to start. And I know that Thanksgiving's out there in November, Halloween's in October, Christmas in December. I guess you got Labor Day. Is it Labor Day in September? So I think that's there. But either way, you're always practicing. You're playing. I've practiced on Thanksgiving, right? I've practiced on Christmas. I've traveled on Christmas. I haven't played on a Thanksgiving game. It's one of those things where it's like, do you want to do that? Like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to do, but it's still Thanksgiving. So I haven't played on those days. So when you're in football, you don't get those holidays. I mean, you talk about maybe the ones in the off season. I mean, if you're good, you're playing around Valentine's Day. January, if you're deep in the playoffs, you're right around MLK Day. And so essentially you don't get those. OTAs, mini camps take up those summer ones. So July 4th is the one. So right now, between here and reporting to camp here in another couple of weeks, it's all about getting your body right, staying in shape, and potentially kind of peak or taper off a little bit, which may make a little bit more sense, is that you kind of pull back a little bit on your intensity of workouts because you are about to head into training camp. But either way, if you got yourself a trainer, you can do those things. But you getting that last bit of vacation now because it's time to lock in and time to go to work. Like when you're in training camp, it's go time, baby. we're not going to be. It's not a slow build up. Okay. Shoot, I'm training a kid right now, a young fella. He's in middle school and he wants to be starting a team tight end. And I'm like, all right, cool. If you want to do that, like we need to show up ahead of other people. You need to show up a little bit more polished. And that's how it is when you get into training camp. You want to show up ready to go day one, show up that you have been doing the work. No longer are the days where you use training camp to get in shape. You use training camp to get back like game ready, like with the ins and outs of operating the offense or the defense. But you're not doing it to get in shape. You're not doing it in the fact of saying, okay, I haven't been working out in a month. Let me get going. Like, no, right? Especially now that when you remove training, when you remove a preseason game and they're extending the seasons, like it's so paramount that you take care of your body. And that you're able to show up on time and show up in shape and ready to rock and roll. So this time right now in training camp, I'm wanting to see players, enjoy themselves a little bit, still work out, but put those fine touches on everything, knowing that they're going to show up focused and ready to work with this team. Third thing for me today, we've talked about Brandon Aiyuk and the posting of the practice pictures. We've talked about how to get prepared for training camp, what's going on right now as a player. But number 3, I want to talk about a player, a guy that I've been reading about. His name's been popping up a lot, and I'm very intrigued to see what he can do on this field. And I spoke about him in a previous episode. It is the linebacker out of Temple, Jordan McGee. Zach Selby from Commanders.com, he's written about him. He says that Jordan McGee brings rare leadership to the Commanders. And when you have McGee, who everybody's speaking highly on, I remember reading an article or a snippet or story or something along the lines of saying that Adam Peters has a Commanders caucus. And inside this Commanders caucus, you bring everybody in and you essentially get to, fight for a player, right? Put somebody out there, nominate somebody, everybody gets to give their input. And as you can imagine, as you have countless amounts of scouts and GMs and up and down and, just spread around, and you got to imagine, got to be like 10, maybe 15, I don't know, 20 people in that decision. When Jordan McGee's name went up there, this was a guy who had the thumbs up of confirmation from everybody. Every single person put it on the table for Jordan McGee, saying that they wanted to draft this guy. It was about how during the draft they had this caucus, and they were getting nervous because it was projected that he would have went in the 4th, and then he obviously got drafted to Washington in the 5th. But man, when everybody is like on board with something like that, like you got to really see, you got to understand maybe what does he have that's special. Here's a quote from that article. It's a guy that's going to do the dirty work. Okay. Oh, this is in reference to the single-digit number that he wore in Temple. It says single-digit jerseys are not a trifle thing at Temple. They're reserved for players who lead by example both on and off the field and represent the program's core values. McGee earned the honor twice, proving that he was a key piece to the Owls' success. The fact that he won that thing twice, I say won, earned it twice, it means that they will take it away from you. So it's not like you get to show up and wear that ace, wear that single digit because you're the best receiver on the field. You get to wear those single digits because you've shown that you are the best and you're a leader on and off the field. So you have a high character guy in Jordan McGee. They've talked about the gold helmet designation that Washington has. You'd have to think that this is somebody that fits that. When you talk about this, McGee created a reputation of being a dependable, smart, productive player. And for those reasons, that's why he was gifted with that highest honor of being able to wear that single digit. That's a guy that's going to be a leader and rally the troops and say the right things behind closed doors and be an extension of the coaching staff. I've been saying this for months. You've needed that type of player that's going to close the door and is going to say, this is how it's going to be. The way you're doing it is not right. The way that this is the way that it needs to be done. Get right or get gone. To hear that I love to hear that, because you know that you're going to have that leadership inside that locker room. And you're saying, hey, Anthony, he's just a rookie. I know. But that doesn't mean that he can't take that type of leadership. He sounds as if he'd be somebody who'd be, take charge of the kickoff team, take charge of the punt team and be somebody that you can put in that position and trust him on the field, being an extension of the coaching staff, being able to communicate the changes and the different type of blocking schemes that are necessary when you're trying to sort out punt protection. Like, this is somebody that's going to hold people to a standard of how he wants the secondary to be to come out, and how he wants that secondary to perform, or not secondary, but the punt team to perform, and special teams units to perform. But let me not just relegate him to special teams, because the way that you hear this coaching staff talk, Joe Witt, 16, 17, 18 guys that can get out there and make an impact in one way or the other. You've seen how Dan Quinn works with people. And then you look at the fact that he's a rookie who has the right mindset, that gets to learn from one of the best to ever do it at the position, a modern day Hall of Famer, Bobby Wagner. And then you get to see Frankie Louvu. And when you read up about Frankie Louvu, he is somebody who's always going. He's going to go full speed every single time he's out there. So when you have that Jordan McGee who has that mentality already, and he gets to be behind one of the best ever to do it, Bobby Wagner, he can learn from him. He's going to soak up that information. He's going to learn from watching Louvu work. You learn a lot from just watching somebody work. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I was out there in Washington and I was at the bottom of the roster, hell, I remember when my first time I showed up in Washington, 2009. I show up practice squad, my first practice. I run out there, jog on down to the field. I got Santana Moss, Antoine Randall. I was like, oh, snap. Yeah, Malcolm Kelly, Devin Thomas, those young fellas there too. And I remember Coach Hickson, he was like, man, just go follow her. Go follow her, Randall. Do what he does. I'm like, all right. So watch him do what he did what he did, and would go on to follow and watch what Santana was doing and replicate that. Watch the way that London and Lorenzo showed up every day, and Reed Dowdy showed up, Kedrick and Golston. Watch how those guys handled themselves, and I would go off to emulate that. So Jordan McGee's in a hell of a position to set himself up to be a really special player, because this article says that McGee was always prepared from a mental and physical standpoint. It gave the appearance that McGee never had a bad day, and his teammates were always gravitated to him for that. There's something that's really that's brewing over there in Ashburn, and I like the type of players that they're getting just from reading the stories and hearing these articles and what's going on from the on-field performances and off-season momentum that they're building and just everything that they're doing. I'm really uplifted. I think that things are moving in the right direction. I'm excited for Jordan McGee. So he's going to make an impact. He's going to make an impact. I mean, in this league, if you're able to hit on, a couple of draft picks, you had a pretty good draft. And with this draft class so far, it feels as if Washington has hit on more than just one. You feel like Daniels is going to be somebody that's special. Sanders still, you think is going to be special. McGee, maybe that unheralded, lesser known guy that could be an impact player for you. But then there's other guys that are in there as well. So Sennett and Coleman. I want to see what the young, what the new tackle Brandon Coleman's going to do. So I think he's going to surprise some folks too. But Either way, folks, I appreciate y'all hanging with me. Check us out on social media at Believe Commanders. Jump into the conversation. I want to know, what do you think about Jordan McGee, and who is your impact rookie if it's not Jordan McGee? Want to hear your thoughts on that? Give me a holler at Rated Armstrong. You can give us a listen on all your favorite streaming platforms. You see it right here: iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Watch Stadium, all those good things there. And make sure you check out the folks over there at BetOnline.ag. Get that $250 welcome bonus. It goes up to $250 welcome bonus on your first bet. So you got that out there for you, right? Good things are rolling out here in Commanders country, but look here, y'all. Don't show no more tape. Don't do that. Don't do that. Unless you're gonna be in a Commander jersey. That's all I say. Y'all be good. See y'all on the next one.